Falcons offseason shakeup, big moves, QB drama, and what's next. All right, Falcons fans, strap in because this offseason has been a wild ride, and it's only getting crazier. A key defensive piece is gone. The quarterback situation is an absolute roller coaster, and the draft could completely reshape this team. Lorenzo Carter heads to Tennessee first up. Lorenzo Carter is out. The Tennessee Titans signed him in free agency, taking away a guy who's been a steady presence on Atlanta's defense. Now, was he a superstar? Number. But he was reliable. Over 3 seasons with the Falcons, Carter played 47 games, logged 125 tackles, 7 sacks, and forced 2 fumbles. He did his job. That said, this wasn't a blindside move. The Falcons saw this coming and had a plan. They brought in Divine Diablo and Leonard Floyd to reinforce the defense, so while Carter leaving stings a bit, the front office had some insurance ready. But here's the real question. Did they do enough? Atlanta's pass rush has been a problem for years, and if they don't address it in the draft, it could be more of the same in 2025. The Kirk Cousins situation, what now? Now let's talk about the absolute chaos at quarterback. Just last year, the Falcons handed Kirk Cousins a massive 4-year, $180 million deal, thinking he was the guy to lead this team. And at first, looked like they might have been onto something. He even had a ridiculous 509-yard game against the Buccaneers in Week 5. But then things went off the rails. Cousins fell apart down the stretch, throwing 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions in his last 5 starts. The Falcons went 1-4 in those games, and just like that, they benched him for first-round pick Michael Penix Jr. And here's the problem. Atlanta now has a very expensive quarterback who might not even be their starter. Keeping Cousins as a backup? That's a $180 million insurance policy. That's insane. So, what happens next? Where could Cousins go? A trade? A release? Either way, the Falcons might be looking to move on. The issue is, some of the best landing spots are already off the table. New York Giants? Nope. They just signed both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. Cleveland Browns? Maybe. Deshaun Watson hasn't been reliable, and while trading for Cousins might be tricky, if he gets released, Cleveland could come calling. Pittsburgh Steelers? Also a possibility. They've been linked to multiple veteran QBs, and Cousins might be a safer bet than someone like Aaron Rodgers, who always brings some extra drama. And then there's the team where it all started, the Minnesota Vikings. This is just the beginning of what could be a wild quarterback market. What do you think the Falcons should do? Stick with Cousins? Move on? Drop your thoughts below, and let's talk about it. Falcons' big draft decision. Kirk Cousins' future and the search for a pass rusher. All right, let's talk about what's next for the Falcons, because this team has some massive decisions to make. First up, the Kirk Cousins situation. Could Cousins return to Minnesota? A reunion with the Vikings isn't out of the question, especially if they're not fully sold on Sam Darnold or whoever they draft. Another wild card team? The Tennessee Titans. They hold the number, 1 pick, and if they take a rookie quarterback, adding a veteran like Cousins as a bridge guy could make a lot of sense. No matter where Cousins lands, the Falcons are at a crossroads. Keeping him means paying big money for a backup. Moving on means fully committing to Michael Penix Jr. and betting that he's ready to take over. This is the kind of decision that defines a franchise's future. The Falcons' draft plan now. Let's shift gears to the NFL draft, where Atlanta holds the number 15 pick. ESPN's Matt Miller has an interesting take. He thinks the Falcons could draft Alabama linebacker Jihaad Campbell. Why? Pass rush potential. Miller sees Campbell as a guy who could develop into a Micah Parsons-type player, someone who can play linebacker but also move to the edge and create chaos for opposing quarterbacks. And let's be honest, Atlanta desperately needs a dominant pass rusher. The Falcons haven't had a true game wrecker off the edge since John Abraham. Is Jihaad Campbell the right pick? But here's the debate. Should Atlanta take a hybrid player like Campbell, who still needs development, or should they go after a true edge rusher? Some fans think the Falcons should target a defensive tackle like Alfred Collins from Texas, who could anchor the defensive line and bring more power up front. Another factor? Trading back. Falcons general manager Terry Fontenot has already said he's open to adding more draft picks, and if the right offer comes along, Atlanta could slide back, stack some extra selections, and still land a top-tier defensive prospect. Who should Atlanta target? If the Falcons are serious about fixing their pass rush problems, there are other names to watch. Mike Green, LSU, a true edge rusher with an explosive first step. Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M, a powerful defender who could step in and contribute immediately. So what's the move? Go all in on Campbell and hope he turns into a superstar, trade back and add more pieces, or target a pure pass rusher instead of a hybrid player? This draft could shape Atlanta's defense for years to come, and we're just getting started. What do you think? Should the Falcons move on from Cousins? Is Campbell the right pick? Drop your thoughts below. Can the Falcons afford to wait? It's a big question, especially when you think about the last time they had a truly elite pass rusher, John Abraham, back in 2012. That's over a decade without a player that opposing quarterbacks genuinely feared. If the Falcons believe Jihaad Campbell can step into that role, then picking him at number 15 could be a smart move. But if they pass on a true edge rusher and Campbell doesn't turn into a game changer, they might be repeating past mistakes by opting for versatile defenders instead of pure pass rushers. This isn't just about one player either. The Falcons' entire draft strategy hinges on fixing their defense. In a recent mock draft, they followed up Campbell's selection by grabbing Texas defensive tackle Alfred Collins at number 46. Collins is a beast at 6'4" and 315 pounds, capable of playing multiple positions on the line. He's tough against the run and has shown some promise in pass rushing, which is exactly what the Falcons need. But here's the kicker. The Falcons don't have many picks this year. With only 5 selections, they have little room for error. If they miss on the number 15 pick, they can't just make up for it with a bunch of day 2 picks. That's why exploring a trade could be a smart move. If they can find a team willing to move up, they could snag extra picks and still land a high-impact defender later in the first round. Terry Fontenot has hinted he's open to trading back, and with so many defensive talents likely available at number 15, it could be a savvy strategy. However, if they can't find a trade partner, they need to nail this pick. The Falcons are in a unique position. If they can pull off a trade, they could free up salary cap space and fully commit to Michael Penix Jr. as their starting quarterback. Let's be real, if they believe Penix is the guy, keeping Kirk Cousins around doesn't make sense. You don't pay a backup $45 million a year when that cash could be used to bolster the defense. This offseason is crucial for Atlanta. The decisions they make in the coming weeks will shape whether they move forward or continue to struggle. So, what do you think? Should the Falcons stick with Cousins, or is it time to let him go? Is Jihaad Campbell the right pick at number 15, or should they chase after a true edge rusher? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates. Go Falcons!